Welcome to the challenge. This is webinar number 3, and we'll be playing with week number 2 on the challenge, which is building the team. We'll be peeking backwards to see how your setting site exercises went. Week number 1 was last week. Those were the setting site exercises. And week number 2 kicks off the building the team section of the Bare Bones Biz Plan. That's just a little howdy and centering moment so that you know you're in the right place and where you are in the challenge process. We've got a lot of fun stuff to cover today. For the next hour, we're going to be recording this call so you can listen in later. We'll be looking back on the setting site exercises and previewing the building the team exercises. I also want to do a little bit of housekeeping to make sure that you're taking advantage of the tools that you've got at your disposal as challengers. One is, on my screen right here, I'm showing you the email that Michelle sent earlier today. If you're not getting our emails, we need to know about that. Send us an email at contact@barebonesbiz.com, contact@barebonesbiz.com, and let us know. Michelle does a really great job of sending an update or two. We work together on these updates between challenge calls. And she may send you a little hostess gift. She may remind you of your homework, put a little quote in. And there's going to be an agenda for the call. Now, for some folks, the agenda is a helpful tool because it reminds them of, it kind of centers them on what we're going to talk about today. For some of you, the agenda doesn't matter. Just show up. Just bring yourself to the party. In the pre-call today, one of our challengers mentioned that he said, to be honest, I'm behind. Well, that is going to happen. That is going to happen. And what if you didn't beat yourself up about that? What if instead you brought yourself to this call today and you said, I am renewing my commitment in my business, in myself, in my work on my business plan, in my enjoyment of my business. That is what my focus is today. And you just set down the baggage of all the the berating and self-denigration that you might have done about the challenge or about anything else in your life. That is just not welcome here. I'm going to share some good news. My good news today is, some of you already know because I've been crowing about this, I ran 20 miles on Sunday. I'm training for a marathon, and one of the reasons I'm running a marathon is this thought goes through my head that I'm too young to say I'm too old to run a marathon. I've run 5 marathons before. The last one I ran was 4 years ago. And marathons don't just happen. They take some training. Now, if you're a young, athletic, gifted kid, if you're Lance Armstrong, you could probably go out and run a marathon with little or no training. But for most of us, a marathon is the result of a commitment, of putting a plan in place and working the plan. And some days go well and some days don't, and sometimes you get behind, sometimes you miss a run. But there's moments like Sunday where I ran 20 miles and I felt really good, that I thought, man, I can do this. And when you do something extreme like that, something that you've worked up towards, it is so satisfying. I'm so looking forward to November 18th when I run my, my marathon in Philadelphia. That's my good news. And so right now, as you're on the phone, you're welcome to type this in. Think of something that you're proud of. Think of some accomplishment. It doesn't have to be about work. It could be in a relationship. It could be with a customer or a vendor. But just something that made you think, you know what, that was a job well done. And start acknowledging these moments in your life. You can type them in if you like, or just think about it. But just deep breaths, get the energy right, and bring some good, positive vibes to the call. Here's my question in the agenda. What if it is, and the word I want to fill in the blank here is easy? What if it is easy? What if it's not hard to be successful? Could you put that baggage down? I don't know how hard I've worked. I know how hard you've worked. I've worked hard. But is that really what creates the results? Or are there just some serendipitous moments where it all falls together and it feels really easy? Is there a time when you stopped hitting yourself with a hammer, stopped working for the customer who doesn't appreciate you, let go of the team member who just doesn't seem to be a good fit, and it just felt a little easier? Was there ever a time you asked for the sale and they just said yes? What if it were easy? And if we could establish that as our baseline, instead of working so hard. There is no trophy and no award for working the hardest. But there is joy to be found in the pleasure of a job well done, the ease in which a sale is made and a relationship is developed. So if you've got your agenda, you'll note that the agenda lines up fairly nicely with my slides. And I'm going to move to the slides. But if you've got the agenda, you could have the agenda, you could print it up on your end. That can help you kind of keep on track, helps me keep on track a little bit. And I will move now to the slides, but I wanted to point the agenda out, and if you're not getting that, be sure to let us know. All right, so let me zip on over to the PowerPoint. All right, the PowerPoint's really just to make sure that I stay on track today. So this is webinar number 3. There are 8 webinars. I can't believe we're on number 3 already. We did our setting site exercises last week. You may still be working on your setting site exercises. That's fine. But in these calls, I'm going to take each week and focus on one week. We'll check the homework from the previous week, and then we'll preview the exercises of the week we are in. So currently, the week you're working on in the Bare Bones Biz Plan is building the team, week 2. Yesterday was day 6, the cleanup, and today is day 7. And in a moment, we'll zip over and take a look at the challenge page. Okay, so on the webinar, again, ask a question. Just put your hand up or type in the question mark. I hope you're filling out your binder. If anybody has a question about the binder, isn't sure how theirs is filling up, if they're doing it right, ask me. Otherwise, I'm pressing on. I showed you pictures of mine. There it is. And these are the different tabs: setting site, building the team. Next week is making money. How fun is this? All right, so from one webinar to the next, there's the game plan. We review the prior week, and we preview the coming week. So let's dig into the, oops, I went too fast. Let's dig into the setting site exercises. Now, so many of you sent me your homework, and I would like to call on you today. Now, if I call on you and you really don't want to share, I'm going to use first names only. But if I call on you and you really don't want to share, I'm not going to make you share. However, some of you did a really nice job with the exercises, and I would like to get some real-life feedback about them. That would make it a lot more interesting, I think, for the group. So let's talk about your perfect life. Now, as a general observation of the homework that was sent, let me share a couple of general observations from the homework that was sent. Let me share a couple of thoughts. On your perfect life exercise, the key to it is to speak in the current tense. Talk about it as if it's happening. This morning I wake up and I do this, and then I do this, and I'm doing this now. So write it in present tense. Now, it may sound or feel a little, I want to use the word duplicitous, you know, not quite true if you're not experiencing it yet. But in that great book, The Answer, Mike, you might want to let me know that you got that. I'm adding The Answer to our list of great books that we're going to send out for rewards. John Astroff, in his great book, The Answer, talks about how important it is to visualize and experience with all of your senses that which you want to happen, and to act as if it's so, and to get those neurons and the energy and the whatever else is happening chemically in your brain and spiritually and in your heart and soul to pre-pave those paths so that those things can come to you more easily. You know what? I buy it. So a really important element of the perfect life is to write it in present time, not I will be worth $10 million on my personal balance sheet, but I am a decamillionaire. I have a net worth of $10 million. There is a world of difference in the present tense, and I'm going to encourage you to look at your perfect life and make sure that you've done that and maybe revisit that for a minute, even though we're in week 2. And the other exercises that I asked you to focus on was your why, your goals in terms of dollars, money, and time, values. Oops, sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button. Your values is a list of things that you will always do and never do that cover the chinks in the armor, that cover the gaps in your business plan. If someone on your team didn't have a procedure for the situation that was in front of them, how would they respond? One of the things in my business plan is that we are honest with each other. We always tell the truth. So it's never okay to lie, to the point where you can't say, I'm not there when I'm there, even if I don't want to get on the phone. You can say, Ellen is not available for a phone call at this moment, or has expressed that she asked me to take a message so that she could call you back. But it's not okay to say I'm not there if I'm there. They call this rigorous honesty in the AA tradition, and it's something I'm very, very fond of. So that's an example of values. And then the elevator speech is something that I would really like to play with today too. So we're going to spend a little time, and I'm going to pick on folks from our group today. Massive turnout for this call today. I'm so excited about it. And some of you sent me your homework, and some of you did not. So if I put you on the spot and you don't want to play, you don't have to. But if you do want to play, I would love to play with you. Hey, Miss Michelle,
yes.
I see you're on the call. How are you?
Good.
Yay! All right. Well, Michelle's on deck. If anybody needs any help, how is everybody signing up? All good? So far, so goody?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
I can't see anybody.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to make you the organizer. Well, there you go.
Okay.
All right. So maybe just keep your eyes open for someone who may, has expressed interest in being on the call and they're not here.
Okay.
Thanks for your help. Okay, I'll turn you back into a mute, Michelle.
Okay.
Okay, so let me see who I can pick on now. Mike C., I wanted to pick on you, but your audio pin isn't working. You might try pressing pound, Mike C., and see if you can be heard, because I would like to play with you. We had some fun stuff going on with your homework. How about Sir Kyle? Hey, Kyle.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Hi. You knew I was going to call on you today.
All right. I'm up for it. Game on.
Are you up for it? Okay, well, let's talk about your Perfect Life exercise, because you've done the Perfect Life before. You went through the exercise. Did you revisit yours? Did you start over? Tell me about how the Perfect Life exercise went for you.
I expanded on it, yes. To be quite honest, my introduction to you in person was January of this year, and so to think in this way was a little awkward for me, and so my confidence has gotten better, and we started implementing the skill sets that you've been giving us. I feel like it's not so much a dream as it very well could be a reality, so I felt more open to kind of letting the juices flow, if you will, when I was thinking of the perfect day.
Is it getting bigger? Are you dreaming bigger?
I won't say bigger, but in greater detail.
Ooh, that's a neat way to say it. Okay, love that. Of the other exercises that you did, you sent me a bunch of them right before the call, so I haven't had a chance to look through them, but I know that you're open to sharing. Which one of the exercises really got your attention, or that you'd like a little feedback on?
I guess since the perfect life is a personal thing, I would then go to where I would get, I think, better input from a coaching standpoint, and that would be with the mission statement and the vision.
Okay. Now the mission statement is supposed to be, but the way I define it is, it's your why. It's what gets you out of bed. It's the purpose of the business, and why the business should exist. The vision is something that some people choose not to even do, but the vision can be an overarching goal. For instance, for many people with businesses, the overarching goal is to be able to franchise it someday, or to sell it for great wealth, or to turn it over to their kids in a successful transition, that there is an end game. That's what the vision is as I define it. Now, different gurus define it different ways, but I'm going to use my vernacular, my vocabulary for our work together in the challenge. So if that appeals to you, great. If that's still a little nerve-wracking, you can skip that exercise. But having said that, what did you come up with?
With technology, I mean, can you share it if you want to, or you just want me to read it?
I would love to if you're comfortable with that. So yes, that's why I thought I'd just ask you first. I think this is you. Okay, so I won't share the perfect life, but I will share the mission statement.
Okay. No,
Okay, so let me cook that.
Okay.
It looks like it's cooking. Let's see if it'll open up. And hey, Mike C., I see that you're on mic and speakers. I'm going to call on you next because you had some interesting stuff that I want to share. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. To be the best stewards of the resources we have been entrusted with. We are stewards of the gifts and abilities God has given us. Each one should use whatever gift he has received to serve others, faithfully administering God's grace in its various forms. Oh, and then you signed it. I think that's really beautiful. Now here's the litmus test for a mission statement. Does this inspire you?
Yes.
I can hear it in your voice. I can hear it in your energy. And you're not alone in having a religious, spiritual mission. Now this mission might not be resonating with your customers, which is why I separate the USP from the mission. The mission is personal. Yes. Now, for some people, the mission and the USP are the same. My buddy Al Levy has a mission and a USP that's the same thing, and his is to help his clients achieve more success with less stress. He almost killed himself working in his family business, and he vowed to make things better for others and for himself. And so what gets him out of bed is that driving mission, and it's also something that customers come looking to him for, more success, less stress. In your case, for marketing purposes, for a customer in need, this may not be what they're thinking of when they call you, but the energy of it, the inspiration of it, the effect it has on you is all part of what's going to make you magnetic to your customers. Your USP, though, could be different. Does that make sense? I think this conversation applies to a lot of the folks on the phone, too.
Great.
If you're inspired, then it passes muster. Good for you. Let me take a look at your vision now. Okay, to establish ourselves as the dominant company in the markets we serve by having the highest integrity, knowledge, financial, and marketing acumen. Very nice. What I might say to strengthen this vision is a vision is a goal, and a goal is a to-have statement. Generally speaking, Kyle, and this might be of service to others on the line today, generally speaking, the dominant market share in most industries is 25% of the work that's being done is done by that company. If you have 25% market share, you can become pretty impossible to knock off the top of the hill. Now, impossible is probably too serious a word, but you've got an awfully great position. We would call you the dominant company at that point. So how much work is being done? I know in plumbing, I'm not sure about in your industry. Kyle, you're a septic professional?
Yes, wastewater.
You're the wastewater. You're the wine into water guys, water into wine guys, as I like to say. Yeah, I mean, what important planetary work you do. I mean, what good stewards you are in what you do. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So I think you deserve to make a lot of money and hold your chin up and chest out like you are, so good for you. And to be the dominant company in the market would be to do 25% or more of the work that's being done in your industry in that market. So that might be something to aspire to.
Yeah. So basically, saying 25% makes it a specific target point. Okay, I get it.
Exactly, because a vision statement is a senior goal. And this is going to come up, too, with these other exercises for the setting site. On these exercises, amigos, let me just take a moment to define a couple terms, because this has come up in other people's homework. Goals are to-have statements. Goals are to-have statements. When I talk about projects are going to come up in week 5. And I'm going to have you assemble a top projects list. And here's a little spoiler alert. The top projects list is the overwhelm reduction tool of a lifetime. A project is a bunch of to-dos. It's some activity that is going to move you in the direction of your goals. So for some of you, instead of goals, you had projects. You know, I want to put I want to get a marketing plan together. Well, what's the goal of a marketing plan is to get so many calls. So the goal might be to have an average of 87 calls per service tech per month, tracking that by December 2012. Do you see the difference in that? A goal is a to-have statement. It's going to be measurable in terms of dollars, numbers, and time. And then a project is what will move you in the direction of that goal. And we don't always know if the project that we have is going to work or not, but we will know if it works if we achieve the goal or get closer to it, and if the evidence is also available on the financial scorecards, which we'll be addressing next week. So goals are to-have statements. So your mission is your why. Why should this business exist? Your goals are measurable milestones, to-have statements that are defined in terms of dollars, numbers, and or time, and they're something that you want to achieve. Your values are what we always do or never do, and they're designed to communicate to yourself, to your team. This is what we're about here. And even if it's not in the manual, know this about me. Know this about me. This is what I stand for. So if you're ever in doubt as to what you think I would want you to do in a situation, let my values, our values, be your guide. And if these values don't resonate with you, this probably isn't a good place for you to work. Values are a very powerful part of the business plan. And then your elevator speech includes your USP. And your USP is your unique selling proposition. It's also called a unique selling position. But it's something different and unique about you that allows customers to go, oh, I want that. So, hey, Kyle, have you put an elevator speech together?
I haven't dusted it off since back in January, but basically, in a nutshell, it is, you know how so many times people have problems with their septic systems not working? We install septic systems. Sorry? I
said, yep.
Yep, and so we install septic systems that come with a guarantee of performance, that we guarantee them to work.
You know what? I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, Kyle followed the model in the book, and I gave that advice to a couple people who sent me some homework. You know how, and then you describe something that may be putting the other person in your conversation at a point of pain or perhaps even a point of desire. You know how you really want your septic system to work and you may not even know if it is? What we do is we guarantee that our septic systems always work. That's the level of service we provide. Wow. Now, to someone who lives in the country like me, Kyle, that's a winning elevator speech. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was ready to tease you because you fumbled a little bit at the beginning, and then you nailed it, amigo. Woohoo! Okay, I'm going to put you back on back on mute. Is there anything else you want to say before I move on?
Nope, doing fine. Thanks.
Yay, are the kids listening in? They doing their homework?
Yep, they're right here.
I tell you what's fun about this challenge. We've never had so many groups participate. Kyle brought his kids today. Okay, Mike, can you hear me now? Thanks for switching the mic and speakers.
Yes, I can hear you.
Now, I gave you some lots of feedback about your homework, and I wanted you to share. While we weren't recording, we talked a little bit about your perfect life, and just as a pop quiz, what advice did I give you about your perfect life exercise?
Well, you very definitely put emphasis on putting it in the present tense.
Yes, sir.
Not what
yes,
I did when I put mine together.
No, and what you can't do any of this wrong, and I don't want any of my critiques or comments on anybody's homework to be taken as something to shut you down. I'm just making some observations that may make this a little clearer and a little stronger. Throughout Mike's perfect life, he was listing some goals. I want to have this much. So Mike, go mine those pieces of the perfect life draft and line them up in your goals section. You have some good goals there. At a time, at a specific dollar amount, maybe a number on some of them, but you have some really great goal statements in your perfect life exercise. Mine those and put them into your goal statement. And then your perfect life exercise, make sure that it's present tense. And another thing that Mike did that I was teasing him about a little bit, and he clarified that he and his wife worked on the perfect life together. I'm going to encourage you that if you do have multiple people working on this business plan together, the perfect life exercise is a great exercise to do separately and then share with each other. It doesn't even have to go in the finished version of the binder. This is private. And then you can see, are we on the same page? Like, this isn't specific to you, Mike, but I know that this exercise has allowed some husband-wife teams and brothers to, somebody to raise their hand and say, I don't like the role I've been given in this company. What I like to do is this, and I keep being asked to do this, and I just want to make it clear that this is what I really, really want. And the other person says, you know what, I was never even aware of that. I didn't even notice that. So that can be a really powerful way that these exercises can help you honor and recognize what each person in the business wants and make sure that, yeah, we can make that work. That's going to fit in the overall mission and vision and goals and values of the company. Or, oh, you know what, as bittersweet as this is, maybe it's a time for us not to work together. So again, Mike, that's not specific to you, but it just made me bring up some general coaching about the perfect life exercise.
Sure.
So was there anything else in your exercises that you had a question about, or when I sent back some feedback on it that was that caused a question to come up? Now's the time if you want to share.
No, I don't think so. I really like the direction, though, that you're steering us and myself in. I realized when I struggled with this as much as I did, trying to pull like the perfect life exercise together, I put an awful lot of thought into it, and there were times that I really kind of reached a point where I just came to a complete stop. But I remembered reading in your book that you said just to write down all your thoughts. And so I did that, and I just kept writing, and eventually I reached a point where I was satisfied with it all and just put it all together. But I involved my wife, and I told you this when we talked earlier. I did involve her in this perfect life exercise, and she realized, as well as I did, how we'd kind of lost our way, and this kind of snapped us back to understand exactly why we started our business 30 years ago. And it's kind of rejuvenated us, and it's brought some excitement back to us again.
Oh, that is why I do what I do, right there. So thank you for sharing that. So I've given you some ideas, hopefully that are useful to you. But that feeling of being juiced again, of being excited about it, that's the good stuff. So congratulations to you both for that, and thank you for sharing. That makes me happy. All right, I'm going to ask for a volunteer here, and there is a prize attached to this participation. Who would like to lay their elevator speech on us? Who's gonna show off their elevator speech? Some of you, I gave some feedback about how to do the elevator speech, some ideas. This is not written in stone. I'm open for some creativity, but I will send a gift to anyone who participates. So if you don't raise your hand, I'll volunteer you. But if you really want to have some fun with this, let's put you on the spot for an elevator speech. So you can either raise your hand or you can type in the question, like, you can say yay. Oh, okay, now I've got somebody else with their hand up. So Mike, is your hand up from me calling on you earlier? You can't wait to give your elevator speech.
Oh, I'd like to give the elevator speech.
Woohoo! Okay, hey, what do you do?
I wanted to keep it short and sweet so that I wouldn't have any trouble spitting it out for anyone who asked who was Sudden Service. And at Sudden Service, we strive to deliver the wow factor to our customers. We research it, we fix it, and we educate our customers, resulting in lifelong friendships.
I have full-blown goosebumps right now. So that's how you define wow?
Yes.
Okay, now I want to give you a little spoiler. Write this down, Mike. This is going to be specific to you, and for others on the call, especially previous challenges, it's going to make a lot of sense. When we get to the Getting It Sold section of the business plan, I'm going to ask you to create an acronym that lines up your sales process. We talk about what a basic sales process is, and it really is just steps that allow us to talk about what should happen on each and every call to make sure we serve our customers really, really well. It applies to any business, even though there are a lot of contractors on the call, but it applies to business because every business makes sales. And you've got the elements of it right there, that you can revisit that wow and those steps you just described in the Getting It Sold section of your plan. You can teach your team what that means. You can explore each individual style of how they're going to do those steps, but you'll have a process, a sales and customer service process ready to go that you're going to be able to link right back to your USP. That's a really, really good elevator speech.
Okay.
Okay. There's a group I work with called Make Mine a $1 Million Business. The nickname for that business is M3, Make Mine a Million. Okay, and the Make Mine a $1 Million business is open only to girls, women. It's a sexist organization, so there. And that is okay with me because only 3% of all women-owned businesses ever hit the $1 million mark. Women are behind, and so sometimes a little solidarity can be a helpful way to catch up and to flatten the playing field. The Make Mine a $1 Million Business organization is focused on this elevator speech. Most of what they do is designed to help their members communicate very clearly what it is they do in a short, concise way. And very often their members are looking for venture capital, looking for bank loans, or just trying to sell someone else in their family or on their team on their overall idea, just like we are. So if you are a woman-owned business, I do want you to jot down MakeMineAMillion.org. I'll put it in our follow-up notes so you can check it out. I'm not a huge fan of joining lots and lots of groups because I think most groups are filled with whiners and they can be a distraction. However, a good group focused on the kind of values that you share and one that has great bang for its buck in terms of your investment dollar and the tools that you receive, coupled with that solidarity and the camaraderie of like-minded business owners, can be a very useful tool. And Miriam, we've talked about this group for you before. Any women-owned business owners on the call may also want to pay attention there. So anybody else want to share their elevator speech? We can press on, but I don't want to leave you out of the opportunity if you want to participate. All right, let's jump into building the team. Now, here are the priorities for building the team. This week has some really great information. If those of you who are on deck and on track are actually taking the exercise from every day, and taking the exercise from every day and doing it in order, let's talk about that. Okay, so if you are, the cleanup was yesterday. Now, if you cleaned your desk, that is an outstanding exercise. And we talked about it in one of our classes that meets after the challenge, where I believe you should just take your arms straight out from your chest, you know, squat down till your arm is laying on your desk, and then just sweep everything on your desk onto the floor. Now, you might remove your computer and your iPad first, but other than that, let it hit the floor as a dramatic gesture that may get people from around the office running to see what you're doing. And there can be no more dramatic statement that things are changing around here than for you to clean the place up, starting with you. Recently I went to see one of my long-term clients, and I'd worked with him for a couple of years. He's in pretty good shape. Now he's about to make a major acquisition. He could double the size of his company. I am so excited for him. And he asked me to come back out, work on the financial aspects of an acquisition, and to make sure he's in good shape to bring, you know, to double the size of his company and bring a whole new crop of people on. Super exciting times. So I went out there, and the number one thing that I insisted be put on his top projects list, spoiler alert, you're going to see that in week 5, getting it done. On his top projects list, I put company-wide cleanup. Clean the place up. It wasn't bad, but there was just a thin layer of dust on everything. Any unused table space had something on it. There were things starting to stack up in the corners, right? Does that sound like your shop? You cannot be in that shop looking a new kid in the eye and say, I expect you to keep your truck spit spot clean. You lose your integrity in that conversation, and it's hard to get it back. So fall on your sword and start with you and clean the place up. If it's just your desk, if it's just the kitchen area, find one place and pick it and get it clean. Now that would be a good exercise for yesterday. If you haven't tackled the cleanup yet this week, go for it. Know that when we get to week 5 and we put our top projects together, put this on your master to-do list for now, that a company-wide cleanup is one of those things that should you engage, only good comes from it. Only good comes from it. You'll make more money, you'll have more fun, you'll bond, you'll lighten up the mood. You know, get the power washer out. Have people come in on Saturdays. Bring your kids. Anybody over 8 years old can have a job. Assign areas of responsibility. Take pictures when it's all done. Push everything out into the parking lot and burn it if you can, or recycle it, or give it to Goodwill. And do this. Whoever's willing to take it to the recycling center, split the scrap with them. Give them the scrap. You know, make it a bonus. You take it out of here, you can have whatever you can get for it. It's just got to be gone. But no bad thing comes from that. And, you know, I think I mentioned last time about, I don't mean to discount any challenges people may have with hoarding. If you have that challenge, if someone right now is laughing hysterically as I say it and pointing at you, so be it. However, I want you to clean the place up no matter what. So clean something up this week, and perhaps for now on your master to-do list, put the cleanup, company-wide cleanup on there. Oh, I meant to say this about Felix. In The Odd Couple, Felix is the neatnik, and Oscar is the messy guy. Now, for those of you too young to remember The Odd Couple, look it up, Nick at Night, on Google. Figure out who Felix and Oscar are. Or just bear with me while I tell this story. But for the older folks, you'll remember The Odd Couple. Felix liked everything persnickety clean, and Oscar could care less. And that's the point. Oscar can live in Felix's world. Keep it as neat as you like. I'll mess it up, but it doesn't bother me if you have it neat. Felix cannot live in Oscar's world. The Felixes who come to your company and see that you're living like an Oscar will not work for you, and they're the ones we want. We want neat and tidy and clean. And Oscars just have to live with it while they're at work. But the Felixes are the ones we want to accommodate. Does that make sense? Are you with me? You got any stories to share about cleaning the place up? If you do, raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to press on to the organizational chart. Now, for those of you who just joined the challenge this year, I sent you a little hostess gift as part of your challenge package. You got the 4 softcover books, and you got a DVD of our PBS show called Is There a Business in You? Now, the show's only an hour long. Plug it in, make the kids watch it. They'll love it. It was a lot of fun putting this program together. I do a demonstration of how to put an organizational chart together aligned with the Bare Bones Biz Plan that's very, very good. I think it's good. It shows you how to use Post-its, how to get your team in on the game, to create an organizational chart, and the associated position descriptions. So I just want to steer you in the direction of that DVD if you need a little encouragement or a demo of how to do the organizational chart. The organizational chart does some pretty cool things for us. One is it shows the reporting relationships. If I come to work here, who's in charge of me? Who is going to be the person to care for me and make sure I develop in this company? That is so important. The reporting relationships are important. The other thing it does is it shows people a ladder of opportunity. Put together an organizational chart, even if it's only you. If you do want to hire an employee, you can say, it doesn't look like much yet, but this is what I see. My name's all over these boxes, but the opportunity here is for you because you could aspire to some of these boxes. Excuse me. So the organizational chart, the position descriptions, these are really the priorities of this week. The position descriptions are a bulleted list of what I am responsible for. The position descriptions are aligned with each of the boxes on the organizational chart. So for instance, on the organizational chart, if there is a box for the bookkeeper, I'm going to just go to the challenge page for a minute. If there's a box for the bookkeeper, a position on the org chart for the bookkeeper, then the position description is a bulleted list of what the bookkeeper is responsible for doing. What is that person's list of responsibilities? How they do it are procedures. How they do it are procedures. And we're going to address that in more depth when we get to the Getting It Done section of the Bare Bones Biz Plan. All right, so I'm just trying to clean up some of the terms here to make sure you're clear. If you've got questions about the Building the Team section, go ahead and raise your hand. I did give you an org chart sample. This may be of service to you. And if not, you can do an org chart on a piece of paper. You don't have to use Excel. If you've got Visio, Visio is a great tool for it. But what Mike was pointing out is in an org chart, notice that there is room for only one person at the top. Now, if you're a family business, brothers, father, son, husband, wife, partners, that can be very stressful. And it was certainly one of the big issues that I had with Hot Rod in my company. I didn't want to be the boss of him, but he didn't really want to be the boss. So we were arguing all the time and whipsawing our guys like crazy. So as you put a business plan together, one of the sometimes uncomfortable but always important conversations to have is who is going to be the buck stops here person. Now note that you could have 50-50 partners in terms of who owns the company, but it makes sense to only have one buck stops here person who is going to make the final call in a decision. Now for husband and wives and brothers, etc., it helps to determine this, but that for this person, the president, for instance, in this example on the org chart, Ted, is well served not to lord his presidency over other family members. And keep this in mind, if it doesn't sit well with someone else, then it can be a conversation about, well, what can you do in the organization that I will honor and recognize and leave you free and clear to do? Like maybe you're going to be in charge of the installation department or the sales department, or maybe the making money section, the bookkeeping. Or maybe this isn't a good fit, that we're not going to be able to make this business work, which can be heartbreaking but also liberating. So I thought I had it. Let me see, I'll just open it up again. In the Bare Bones Biz Plan itself, let me just give you some math on this, some understanding of where we are. For those of you who are coming back in the challenge, this is old hat, but for those of you who are new to it, there are some moving parts here, and I'm always fearful that I'm leaving you with some confusion. So let's remind you of where we are. Last week was setting site. These are the exercises. This is week 2, building the team. The cleanup was yesterday's exercise. Today's exercise is creating an org chart. You can use my sample by way of example, or you can just draw one on a chalkboard or a piece of paper. Or you can use something sophisticated like Microsoft Visio. Or in Word, there are templates you can use or download from the internet for org charts. There are different tools available for you depending on your level of tech comfort. Then the position descriptions and the org chart really just leapfrog one off the other. Those 2 exercises are really powerful, and you'll get them done at the same time. Then on Thursday, there's some great counsel about attracting the right people, but there's also a caution. You don't have to hire anyone yet. When we get to getting it done and making sure those weeks are going to also address bringing people on board and getting them trained. And then one more thing, and then we have to end the formal portion of the call. Shore yourself up with a board of advisors. Last week, I don't know if it was on the call proper or in after hours, one of the fellows I was talking to was asking about how I had so many great mentors. Did I seek them out? Did did they serendipitously come into my life? And the answer is all of that. And I'm just old, so I've got a lot of experience. But advisors are so important to your growth as a business owner, and I want you to know that I am on your board of advisors. You can use me in that capacity. I will let you know if the scales are tipping out of balance, but know that I am here to help you. Okay, now I'm going to end, 3 o'clock, end of the formal portion of the call.